Now you're looking for trouble condition.
Hello and welcome to another episode of American Werewolves, where we talk all things horror. I am your co-host, Brandon.
And I am Jerry.
And it has been quite some time since we have sat down to talk any horror movies with you guys. And today we have a really, really interesting one that came out recently from Neon. And that is Cuckoo, which stars Hunter Schafer, who a lot of you will know from Euphoria. Now, I know this movie was not on a lot of people's radar when it first got announced. But, you know, I believe, honestly, due to the popularity of Longlegs, that's one of the biggest horror movies of 2024 right now. You know, people are starting to pay attention to Neon and a lot of their releases. And this is definitely one that is starting to pop up more and more everywhere I look. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm honestly just excited to talk about a new horror movie again. It's really been a minute since we've done this. I think the last one we really did was, it was Longlegs.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, wow. But, sorry, Dexter is just looking perfect. He's just like crawling up next to me, so I have to... Look who it is, Dexter. Don't worry. He's not as cute as you. He's still cute, though. Don't worry. Don't tell Jerry I said that. I'm so glad you got Gizmo back. Now we can have our dogs do horror movie reviews with us.
This motherfucker is a horror movie.
I feel you on that. You know, this dog, you know, he looks all sweet. You can look at that face and you're like, oh, wow, he's a good boy. No, he's a monster behind closed doors, all right?
He likes to rip the squeakers out of toys.
Oh.
And then carry the corpses around.
It's very interesting. Your dog plays with toys. Mine only plays with water bottles or paper. He likes to eat a lot of paper that he finds for some reason.
Oh, yeah. If we, leave the bathroom door open, he'll get into the trash can in the bathroom and he'll pull out, any, paper product that's in there, and he'll just rip it up, and there will be paper everywhere.
Oh, fun. Yeah. Not fun at all. And, I have to put the trash bin on top of the kitchen counter before I go to work, because if not, this fucker will knock that over, and he'll start playing with it, digging around, rolling in it, and then I have to give him a bath every time I come home. It's so fun. It is so fun, Dexter.
Yeah, we used to have to lock up Emma's dog because if she was alone, she would destroy it. She would take out the trash and, eat it.
Oh, but look at him. He's so happy. Oh, he's smiling. Look at him. Yeah, he's definitely photogenic. This one gets shy. He's acting all cute in person, and then he gets on camera, and he's like, whoa. I did not ask for all this. Oh. You gonna talk Cuckoo with us today, dude? You'll stay. But back, I know these dogs are very adorable, but back to the review. What were your thoughts on Cuckoo when you first heard about it, when you first saw that trailer, and I guess when you were getting closer to the release of this movie? How were you feeling about it?
I didn't really have much. I wasn't really expecting anything. 'Cause the trailer didn't really give much away. I didn't know if it was going to be a supernatural. I didn't know if it was going to be an actual a reality-based thriller. Because the trailer, at least the one that I saw, was pretty vague. And it could have gone either way.
Right.
And so I didn't have a ton of expectations going into it because I didn't really know what I was getting into. Coming out of it, I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I enjoyed Longlegs.
Right.
But I did think it was good. I do recommend a watch. I think I would have to see it again to fully appreciate it. Because it was kind of the same deal when I went to see Watchers. I saw it pretty late. into the day. I had been working all that day.
Right.
So I was kind of tired, and I do think that affected my viewing going into it. But I did want to see it, day of release. But I do think I didn't go in with the best mindset. So it is something I do plan on seeing again, and hopefully appreciating it a lot more.
Right. Yeah, that's it was same thing with me with Watchers, but I don't know. I feel like honestly, like I'm set in stone on how I felt about that movie. I know it's a little like controversial how I watched that movie, and the experience I had was terrible. It was like one of the worst filmic theater experiences I had this year,
Right.
but it was definitely one that I definitely feel like it deserves a second chance, just to be fair. Um, but we'll see about that one. Who knows? Maybe we can do a revisit on some movies that we've seen throughout the years at some point. That'd be kind of cool. But with Cuckoo, I like you. I wasn't expecting much either. I was really, I was really, I was honestly only really looking forward to it because I'm a fan of Hunter Schafer. I've seen Euphoria. I think she's really good on that show. She's seriously awesome in it, and she also had a little small part, I guess more of a cameo in this year's Kinds of Kindness. Also, another movie I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed her small bit in that. And Dan Stevens, I'm a huge fan of Dan Stevens ever since the movie The Guest. I think he's been awesome. He was just in this year's Abigail, which he was he was really fun to watch in that movie, and he's just as fun to watch in this one. Before I before I get into, I guess, reasons like what I liked and not liked about this movie, I guess I should break down the plot a little bit, which is reluctantly 17-year-old Gretchen, played by Hunter Schafer, leaves her American home to live with her father, who just moved into a resort in the German Alps with his new family. Arriving at the future residence, they are greeted by Mr. Koenig, her father's boss, who takes an inexplicable interest in Gretchen's mute half sister, Alma. Something doesn't seem right in this tranquil vacation paradise. Gretchen is plagued by strange noises and bloody visions until she discovers a shocking secret that also concerns her own family. That is just the basic plot and the basic premise of this film. Want to go? He wants to bed. Um, that is the basic plot of the film. Now, this film, Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens, they're the main stars of this film. Like, they're the most recognizable names. The other most recognizable name we have is Jessica Henwick, who plays the stepmother Beth. And for as big of an actress as she is, or at least she's slowly becoming bigger and bigger. She was in Knives Out 2. She was in that Dylan O'Brien movie, Love and Monsters. Yeah, she's in Knives Out 2. She plays the assistant with the hat. She has like the bucket hat most of the time in that film. You don't recognize her?
No, hold on. I'm
man.
gonna look her up, and once I see her, I'll be like, oh yeah. But
Yeah. Here we go. I don't know if you can see that.
I don't fucking remember her at all. Holy shit.
Hold
on, Glass Onion.
She was also in the latest Matrix movie that came out, which was not that great of a movie. We try to forget about that one.
Go.
But yeah, she's also in Iron Fist and the Defenders. So she's slowly but surely making a name for herself in the industry, but she's not like really a big part in this one. The main actors are, like I said, Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens, and they're both really good, really really good. Dan Stevens, off the bat, when you see Homie pop up on screen, you already know he just screams, "I'm evil." Like, just by looking at him. I don't know if it's just the stereotype of the evil, like, mad scientist being German that just kind of puts you in that mindset where you're like, yeah, no, this guy is fishy. He talks like he's about to, like, do some experiments right now. And the movie itself is kind of smart to not shy away from that. Like, the movie is, like, a little self-aware at times when it comes to small little elements like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's really intimidating and creepy, even though like he doesn't really have like a big moment, I feel, where he overdoes it, like to show you how super intimidating. Like, sure, he kind of leads into the goofiness of his character, which I mean, I guess I'll say a thing I liked about this movie is like it was serious, but it also didn't take itself super serious at times. It leaned a
Right.
lot into like its B movieisms. Honestly, I kind of wish it leaned into it a little more. I feel like if it did, it could have had a little more fun with its plot because this plot gets crazy as it keeps going. It just like keeps going and going and building all the way until the very very end where you're like, what the hell did I just watch? Um, but it's still like there's a lot of moments in this where I feel like the movie has fun with it. Hunter Schafer's character, she has a lot of. At first, I wasn't really feeling that character. She just felt like any other bratty 17-year-old that was like forced to move, uh, forced to move with her dad and new family and stuff like that. But as you start to understand what her character is going through, with her mom back in the States, you start to feel for her a lot. And you start to really like sympathize with her pain and the turmoil she's got going on.
Did you? I won't say exactly what. Did you ever, for a second, think that? How do I put this? Her mom. Did you? Did you ever think that what actually was
What the
happening?
reveal was,
Yeah.
um, I I don't think I did. I think when it happened, I was kind of like, I wasn't like shocked, but it made sense.
I from the first moment where her mom is mentioned, I was like, this is what's gonna happen. Like I knew from the
Right.
get go.
I got you. I don't know. I felt like I guess I bought into it. I felt like the movie did a good job at like having me buy into like what it's showing you is happening at first, and then you start to realize, oh no, it's this way.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I'm usually a sucker when it comes to those bait and switches. But I I did feel like it. Regardless, I feel like it makes it stronger, and like you do start to feel for them a lot.
Yeah.
And she has this very not the best relationship with her stepsister. She doesn't view her as family, but she's like a stubborn 17-year-old that doesn't want to be involved in this. And her stepsister has a lot of issues going on. She's a much younger child, around 8 to 10, I think, and she's mute. She can't speak. So there's already kind of like that distance between those two characters, which already adds to like I guess the tension and strain. And this little girl, she's obviously trying to build a relationship with Gretchen, Hunter Schafer's character, but she wants nothing to do with it. So that's kind of like I guess that emotional tension that I felt like was like really good and consistent throughout, and it helped keep these characters very interesting as to like how their dynamics changed as it progressed.
Is she? Yeah, she's a stepsister. Is she her half sister? Like, is she
Oh yeah,
biologically
maybe
her
actually, you know what? Half
father's?
sister.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
because I think they do. She does call her stepsister in the film. I think, or it's mentioned that she's her stepsister, but I think also like something that Dan Stevens says later in the film does
indicate that
that
distance.
she
Like
is
it
a
adds on
half
to it.
sister.
Yeah,
Yes, that she is biologically her father's daughter.
yeah. Um, it gets really weird what starts going on in this resort. Like as Gretchen starts, Dan Stevens eventually hires Gretchen to work as a desk clerk at the resort, but she's not allowed to work at night. Once the sun goes down, he's like, I don't want you out there. Like, no way in hell. It's too dangerous. It's too dark. And she ends up doing it one night anyway because her coworker wants to go out and finally have a proper date night with her boyfriend. And that's when she starts suspecting a lot of, crazy shit happening in this movie. If you haven't seen the trailer for this, I would definitely avoid it because I feel like some of the best scares are in the trailer. Some of the best, moments, the coolest, creepiest parts. Uh, Per usual, they give a little too much away in these trailers. So if you want to know nothing, if you want to be surprised, definitely avoid it. But that being said, if you haven't seen this movie yet, go watch it, then come back and listen to this rest. Because I believe with any horror movie or most movies in general, you definitely should be going in blind and not knowing much. It's the best experience, hands down. Um, but yeah, there's moments in the trailer where you start to see there's something else moving around in this resort, and it kind of starts to slowly but surely turn to this madhouse hotel, madhouse hotel movie, almost acting like an asylum. It reminded me a lot of this film back in 2016 called A Cure for Wellness. Have you ever heard of that one? It was
Who does it have?
it's Dane DeHaan and Mia Goth.
I don't know anything about the film, but it does sound familiar. I do remember something with them in it.
Yeah, it's a very similar vibe. Dane DeHaan is like this executive for this big corporate company that has to go out to Germany to rescue the CEO that's been out in this castle, this resort of some sort to, like, I guess for a cleanse or something. And they're like, you need to go there, bring him back. Like, he's avoiding our calls, no one's answering our calls. Like, you got to find out what the hell's going on. So he goes out there.
What's his position?
He's like top floor executive, like up there, like right under the CEO and these other few people. Um, I believe there was a reason why he went, because it was something that was putting his career and other stuff at risk.
Okay.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it is a crazy movie. But yeah, it is a lot for like this guy to be like, you're going up 4,000 miles out there to go get this guy back.
Like, it has to be you. Like,
Yeah. There's a reason for it. I just forgot why. It may be silly if I rewatch it, but I remember thinking, like, I guess that checks out. Um, but yeah, he goes to that castle and then he starts realizing that there's something more going on underneath the surface. It's very similar to vibe to Cuckoo. That movie's a little more grand. Cuckoo's on a more smaller level, and I think it kind of works. I think it really works that to its advantage, since it's such a secluded area and there's not much to hide or go to half the time.
what I also felt, and it's interesting because I had a similar watching experience. This movie reminded me of Watchers. I just think just the lore aspect of it,
Right.
I just think it pulled it off better than Watchers did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in terms of how it reminds me of Watchers.
I do. I can see where you're getting that from. I didn't think too much of it because they're vastly different, but
They
in
are.
certain aspects, which are revealed in the third act of both movies, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Cuckoo had the advantage where it gave away enough to make you kind of piece it together. It didn't give away too much where you're like, start to see like just how silly, I guess, the reveal is by the end. Because Cuckoo, while I do enjoy this movie a lot, it does have a very, I don't know how to put this. It's not a bad thing when I say this, but its reveals are very over the top in certain aspects of this lore. And but it kind of goes back to how like this movie is kind of like an elevated B movie plot almost, with the way it's filmed and acted and directed and stuff, that while the plot can come off a little silly easily if another director had this in their hands, the director and writer of this film pulls it off in a way that's very original and very fun. The director is Tillman Singer, which I am not familiar with this director. He's a German filmmaker. The last movie he did was Luz, which was a German supernatural horror movie. I have not heard of it at all, but I am definitely interested in checking it out now after this one. But yeah, if anyone else, like any other generic director had handled it, and if it was just some studio thing where they just wanted to pump something out to make money, it probably would have been really goofy and really silly. And this one, it treats its plot a little more, uh, they're a little more efficient when it comes to the execution of like the story and what goes down, which I really liked. I feel like I can't say too much about this movie without going into spoilers. It's really, really, it is really fun. It's just really bonkers, and it gets crazy by the end.
Yeah.
So I feel like we might have to start delving into spoilers to really like break down just like what we really enjoyed about this movie and what we were kind of like, okay, there's certain things in there by the end where it's going to make or break it for you. I know this movie's not going to be for everyone. It is going to be divisive. It kind of already is. But this is one where I can see it getting a cult following, you know, once it starts hitting streaming and more people really start discovering it. I think this has a lot of potential to get big after it leaves theaters.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend it. Definitely go watch it. Watch it with a crowd, even the small crowd like I had in my theater. It was fun. Everyone was like laughing at the right parts. Everyone was like freaking out at the right parts. There's some genuine tension and scares there, scattered throughout. Not the scariest movie I've seen, but there's a lot of scares in here that work. They're very effective, and it gets very tense, especially when you're in the beginning and the middle when you don't know what's going on and you're trying to piece it together. But yeah, that's Cuckoo. We're going to start delving into spoilers right now. So if you have not seen the movie, go away, watch it, come back. If you have seen it, or I mean, if you haven't seen it and you don't care, stick around. But definitely watch it. I really recommend. You should not know anything about this movie before watching it. And if you have seen it, yeah, stick around. So the ending now. Dan Stevens' character is experimenting on women, and it gets a little convoluted exactly what he's doing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there's parts of it where I'm kind of like, I get it, but I don't understand the why too much on why he's doing it. He's essentially impregnating these women, from what I'm getting, and with some weird substance that looks like a very disgusting fluid. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a very liquidy, disgusting looking fluid. You can kind of piece together, I guess, what it looks like. And these women he's experimenting on are birthing other women, like other girls and stuff like that.
So what I got was the woman who chases, and this is why I thought why it reminded me of Watchers. The woman who's chasing Hunter Schafer, Gretchen, throughout the whole film is not human. It is this humanoid creature, and Dan Stevens is trying to preserve this humanoid species. And by impregnating these other women, he's creating more of this species population. And that's why it kind of reminded me of Watchers, because it is this species that has been around for a long time that nobody really knows about it. And there is someone who is studying them and has an appreciation for the species. And this outsider kind of gets involved in it. And that's why it reminded me a lot of Watchers. Just executed better.
Yeah.
But that's what I got from it. They don't, or at least to my understanding, because I did leave the theater kind of like having questions. They don't really go into why he's doing it.
Yeah, they don't go to why too much, but like just from that explanation, I know you can kind of piece together why. He's just like any other mad scientist. He discovered something and he wants to keep it going because he's like, this could potentially work out really well in his fucking crazy mind. Obviously it doesn't. This thing is dangerous. This woman chasing around is dangerous. Which, by the way, like when I first saw like the creature like pop up or the woman pop up, I guess it made me laugh at first, but I think that was the intention where it was like scary, but it was also kind of funny because it's like it's just a woman in a coat, but this is no ordinary woman. This is a fucking terrifying creature. So that I thought that worked. I thought that worked as a villain. I think we got a right amount of that villain, honestly. But yeah, when it came to that plot, it was a little hard to follow at first. I hadn't looked up any like breakdowns on the film, honestly. I just kind of reread the plot on Wikipedia and kind of pieced it together from there. But yeah, it was a little hard to follow, but even then, like I still ended up enjoying just like the overall vibe of the movie and like just how fun it was and how crazy it got by the end.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it was just a little jarring because at first I suspected that creature woman was a man in disguise, and then I'm starting to realize like, oh no, that is a woman, because I was like, the substance that she has in her hand, it's clearly representing something to help impregnate this other woman. So I was like, where is that coming from? I'm very confused.
That's wild because like that thought did not pop into my head once.
Yeah, I was like, is this like some Insidious Chapter 2 shit where like, oh, the woman is revealed to be a man the whole time? No, it wasn't. It's just a really weird creature that has this ability, and it's very disturbing. Um, so yeah, I thought that briefly for one moment, and then quickly learned like, no, that's not the case at all. This is just a weird thing. Um, but yeah, I was really thinking a lot of like how the plot was moving forward. I like that character of like that one guest that was like staying, even though I thought like they felt like they could have done a little more with that character. Yeah, the Paris one. What was their name again? Oh man.
Did they ever say?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, I don't.
It was. I'm prepared for reviews. Look at me. It was Ed. I remember it was a boy's name.
Ed?
Yeah. That was her name. ED. But yeah, like the Ed character, while I wish they could have utilized her a little better. Maybe not so rushed, I guess. Like the romance they got going on was very rushed. But then again, also I was like, well, Gretchen is a 17-year-old girl. This girl's probably just slightly older. I get it. Like they're young and dumb. They're gonna move
old
quick.
as fuck.
She did. I figured like she was early mid-20s.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah.
But it did feel very, very random and sudden, and I wasn't super into her character because like they meet, like the second time that they meet, fucking 5 minutes into their conversation, they're making out, and it was very like super.
Well,
rushed.
that I was like, I get that. Whatever. People attract fast. It was the we're running away together part. I was like, well, hold on. This is
right. Yeah.
like slow down. That part was I feel like they could have utilized that character a little better, especially by the end, because she does come back in the end and she's the reason they get away from the place and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I was like, you could have done a little better with that. Same thing with her parents, with her dad. The dad, Lewis, played by Martin Koskas. I haven't seen a lot of him in a lot of things before. Oh shit! Never mind. I totally have. He played Dr. Kafka in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Which doctor was that?
The one that experimented on Electro. He like put him in the cage and stuff. He had the weird bulgy glasses and stuff. That's him.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, no way. He's also the bad guy in Equalizer 1, which I actually watched recently.
I never saw it.
But yeah, crazy. Wow, that guy really is like one of those good character actors. He is a good actor. He's not really in the movie too much though. and like it feels like there's a subplot going on between him and you know Jessica Henwick's character, the wife. It feels like there's a subplot that got cut out at some point because there's something that happens with her by the end. Like, yeah, when she gets like taken away because she's not feeling well and stuff like that, they like roll her away, and then the dad's like kind of like in the background, and then that's it. That's the last you ever see from them. You don't get any more information about what happens.
I
You can only
was
suspect.
I was wondering. I was like, did I miss something? Like, what the fuck happens with the parents? Like,
No,
you
they
never
just
see
don't
them
go
again.
back unless I missed it too. But I literally like they never go back to it
Yeah.
unless it's like a blink and you miss it moment. But even then, it's like no, I don't. There was nothing there. It's like it felt like a loose plot thread. I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you what they were planning on doing with the mom unless they were trying to run some experiments on her at some point.
Yeah.
But you know, by the way the film wraps up, there's no more experiments going on as far as I know.
I would
But
imagine so. The way that it ends. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's like another thing that I found like cool but also confusing at first was the screeching effect that kind of has everything put in a time loop except you know except for the person, you know, the creature doing the screeching itself. Everyone else around them is in a loop, and it's a loop that they slowly get aware of as it keeps happening.
But yeah, basically, yeah. They don't really go into depth
Yeah,
with that. Yeah.
which I felt like was like I guess it's like their superpower. I guess I just looked at it as like a
Yeah.
mutant almost. You know, it kind of looked like that. I kind of treated this almost like a indie X-Men movie.
Yeah. I don't really care that they don't really explain that.
I mean, because it's such a because it is a every time it happens, it's very unsettling. Like
Yeah.
the idea that you're stuck in a loop and you're aware of it, and this thing is getting closer and closer to you, regardless of you being back in the same spot, is terrifying.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that was very effective, regardless. Um,
While I don't care that they don't really go into it, it is kind of it's pretty random for
it
them
is,
to not kind of explain deeper into it.
yeah. I wish there was a little more. I mean, I'm sure there is, and I have to like just look into it. I'm sure, like, because I know there's this term known as cuckooing or something like that. That I've seen being brought up, but I haven't delved into it too much to understand. So maybe once I watch that, like a few breakdowns, or maybe if I just rewatch the movie, I'm sure they even break it down in the movie itself, and I just wasn't paying attention.
Possibly.
Uh, you know, I'm sure I'll get a better understanding of it. But honestly, it's like you said, like there's a lot of it's fine that I don't understand that we don't understand certain things that happen because it never took away from the enjoyment of this movie itself.
Right.
Um, I really dig this, and there were. Is it perfect? I wouldn't say so. Not many movies are. Um, I will say this: I did enjoy it a little more than Long Legs, not by much, just a little bit more. Um, and I know there's no way you will because it's like you loved Long Legs, like that was your fuck
I
of the year.
what is a perfect film to you? Because like Long Legs is, if not damn near, Long Legs is a perfect film to me.
That's a very big question. I don't think I can answer that right now. There's very few movies that I. Here's the thing with my ratings when it comes to movies. It's like everything else. I'm gonna give certain movies five out of fives. That a lot of people are gonna look at me and be like, "That's easily a 2 out of 5." Fuck you. That's just how it is with a lot of it. But it's like, for example, one of my favorite horror movies of all time is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. Um, does it have flaws? It definitely does, especially with the ending. But it wasn't so much about the like for example, I guess we're going off topic a little bit, but with Nightmare on Elm Street's ending, it's one that doesn't make sense, and it never really called for follow-ups anymore. You can definitely tell it was just like it kind of felt like it was something that was rushed and thrown in there. Um, Regardless of that, the experience of the movie itself was just something I was just kind of like hypnotized and entranced and pulled in the whole time. Um, and it still is to this day every time I put it on and watch it. Long Legs, I think, is a very special horror movie, for example. But there's moments in it that took me out of it, mainly the second act, because I start to notice the length and I kind of start getting a little bored with it.
Right.
And generally, like, I find it unsettling, but it's not as scary as maybe a few other horror movies I've seen. But that does not take away from that movie. So yeah, it just I guess it more just what I guess what I'm getting at is it just depends more of like how I jive with the movie from the first time I watch it to the times I watch it after. And my ratings will always change, but like movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, and even other movies like mid '90s or Jurassic Park, which aren't horror movies, those are like perfect movies to me, and they will be for my own personal reasons. So it's hard to break down. It's a really big discussion because a lot of ratings always change, but like there's just few where like if I never get bored of it, if I'm always having fun with it, if I'm always finding something new with it that I really enjoy, um, then yeah, then those movies are perfect to me. And and then in general, there's other movies like, for example, Midsummer. I did not like that movie when I first watched it in the theater. You can ask Norman. Shout out to Norman who edits these. Uh, he, he asked me what I thought, and I was like, I didn't like it at all. I was like, I just thought it was a little up its own ass. I'm not gonna lie. And then I watched it again one time, and I enjoyed it a little more. And then I got curious and watched the director's cut, and I was like, wow, I actually kind of love this fucking movie, as crazy as it is. So who knows? Maybe Long Legs will change down the road. I don't know, but we'll see. That's how I feel about a lot of movies. I feel like it takes a lot of time to really dissect stuff like that
Yeah.
and really get a full opinion on it. Um, who knows? Maybe on Cuckoo, a second viewing, I may like it less. You never know. But yeah, that was my mini rant on what makes a perfect movie. Maybe it doesn't make sense. It never does. Um, Cheers to that. I was gonna say, what else do you have? Was there something you didn't like about this movie that like really annoyed the hell out of you? I guess. I mean, I know you already mentioned that there was a subplot with the subplot with the parents that was kind of bothersome. Um. Oh wait, how'd you feel about the cop, the detective? Oh no.
I would not nothing bad. I wouldn't say he like bothered me or anything. Because it
Did you
does.
already? Did you suspect that he wasn't a detective? Because I kind of figured that off the bat that he was faking it.
Um, I never. I don't think so. I never suspect that he wasn't, because it didn't seem like something big enough for me to like theorize, I guess. Like the reveal to me wasn't anything crazy. Like when Dan Stevens was like, he's not a detective, I wasn't like,
Yeah.
what? I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I felt that. That's how I felt with um um the other bit we were talking about earlier. I already forgot.
Which one?
The part where I was like not too surprised about
Oh, the mom.
yeah, the mom, like how she was like, oh, she's been dead the whole time.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was the reveal, guys.
That's it.
That we
Like
were
the
talking about
reveals in
earlier.
this movie aren't like,
They're not shocking.
yeah,
Um I mean, I'm sure for some it will be.
maybe.
But yeah, for me when he was like, "Oh, he's not a detective." And I was like, that.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, okay.
And movie. That's it. This is um But hell yeah, no. I thought he was cool. I liked that he was still very morally ambiguous as the film went on because at the end of the day, like he's just trying to stop this guy, and he's like trying to tell her because it's revealed later that her sister is like one of these experiments, and he's like, we got to kill her. That's not your sister, and blah blah blah. And that's when it gets to the message of the movie where she's learned to bond with her sister and care about her, and she doesn't care what she is to her now. Like that is her sister no matter what. Which I guess it delves into the theme of this movie, which has to do with family, and how you accept, how you like your family, your non-blood family, how like you accept them, and that they're always going to be there for you no matter what, and you're going to care for them, and you're going to treat them like blood even if you're not. Which I thought was really nice. It's a theme maybe they could have delved to a little more, but it was still nice for what it was. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all my thoughts on this one. I really enjoyed Cuckoo. I think it's definitely going to be in the top 10 of horror movies that I've seen this year. We'll see how it is by my rankings by the end of 2024. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this one, and I think any seasoned horror fan is going to go in and they're going to have a good time with it. Unless you're very particular, then I don't know, fuck you. Don't watch this movie. um, if you didn't like Long Legs, you may not like this one. I don't know. What would you rate this movie?
I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of
Okay.
10.
Gotcha. So just like a very high C. I'm gonna go a little higher. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Honestly, I really enjoyed this one. I had a good time with it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I definitely once it hits, I don't think I'll see myself buying this movie, but once it hits streaming, I'm definitely gonna be watching it a few times, or definitely
Yeah.
showing my friends. Stuff would be like, you gotta watch this. This is crazy.
Yeah, I do want to watch it again, and I do think my opinion will be higher with a second viewing.
Oh, for sure.
It's just not something I'm not gonna pay to see it again.
No, for sure not.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the norm with a lot of these movies now. I feel like a lot of these movies deserve a second viewing to really get a grasp at it. How they rock, especially if it's from A24, if it's from Neon, you're definitely gonna have to give these movies a second shot. Even if you liked there's always gonna be more that you catch, and once you start, because with this movie and Long Legs and a lot of these other like elevated horror movies, you experience the story the first time and then you really take it in the second time. I feel like you see
Right.
how it works and then you see how it's structured, and that could just be the film nerd in me, but that makes me appreciate it a shit ton more.
I feel like
than,
that's how it is with like any movie though.
yeah. It varies. Yeah, there's some movies where I'm like, I watch it once and I'm like, okay, I don't need to see that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's our review for Long Legs. I really enjoyed it. Once again, definitely check it out.
So our
If you
review
saw-
for what?
Fucking A, Cuckoo. I've mentioned too much Long Legs. Like, goddamn, he's in my brain. I just see Nicolas Cage in my brain right now. Oh shit. Speaking of that movie, by the way, going a little off topic, I do want to mention this. I wanted to mention this in the beginning of the review. Did you catch that trailer for The Monkey?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Did it show up late or did it not play at all?
For the Stephen King the Monkey?
Yeah.
No, it didn't play at all for me.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, no, it played in my theater when I watched it, and I was trying to find the teaser online, but I couldn't find it. It just officially came out online today.
Oh shit, no.
I'm pretty sure it was, but I'm looking at, and I watched it and I'm like, this is different from the teaser I saw in the theater for Cuckoo. So I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe I was just like remembering it differently, but yeah, I remember seeing it and I was like, oh shit, Osgood Perkins is coming out with another fucking movie already. Like, this movie's coming out in February, I think. I read it right. Which is roughly 6-7 months after Longlegs.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta watch it. Yeah, no, they didn't give me that trailer at all.
Oh wow. No, it's it looks cool. Like, I dig the vibe of it. I'm curious to see how Osgood is gonna pull that off. I feel like it's gonna have it like most of his style, but I think it's gonna feel like a completely different movie at the same time. I'm very curious. It's got Theo James, which I'm so shocked he's in a movie like this. I still know him as that dude from Divergent or that dude from the one season of White Lotus. And it's got Elijah Wood. Anything he's in, I'm gonna watch. And I don't know if I read this right, but I believe Osgood Perkins is acting himself in this movie too.
Oh, okay.
So I'm curious. I'm really curious where the hell this is gonna go. I want to double check to see if like him acting in the movie is true. The monkey. Okay, no, that's what I thought.
You lied to me.
I did like. Oh my god! But oh no! Guess who's starring in the movie too?
Tommy Wiseau.
Good guess though.
I threw out the most ridiculous name I could think of.
Rowan Campbell, fucking Corey Cunningham himself, is appearing in this movie. Your favorite character in all of horror. I like
Fuck.
Rowan Campbell. You can hate that movie. I like him a lot.
Fuck.
Watch this be like his redemption for you, and you're like, okay, I dig you.
Right.
And Tatiana Maslany is going to be in it as well.
Okay.
She-Hulk herself. So yeah,
I did read that she was casted in it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a stacked cast. Just from the cast alone, I'm already like, I want to watch this immediately. This was already a movie before, wasn't it though? Like Monkey Shines or something like that?
Not to my knowledge. I could be wrong.
Possibly. I don't know. I'll have to look further into it. But yeah, I was excited when I saw that trailer played in my theater. I was like, okay. Regardless of how I felt about Longlegs, I'm really curious to see what Neon's gonna do with this one. So hell yeah, I'm stoked. But yeah, again, we're talking Cuckoo. Go watch Cuckoo. It's fucking Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That was lame. I'm so sorry. Unsubscribe if you feel the need to. But please don't. Subscribe, comment down below, hit that like button. Did you watch this movie? What did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? And if there's another Neon horror movie that we don't know is coming out, or if there's one we missed that we should definitely check out, let us know. We're definitely curious. We're really, really curious. Should we check out Luz, the director's previous film? I haven't heard anything about it. I've never heard of that film before, but I am curious to see what it's all about, especially after this one. If you've seen it, should we watch it? Whatever your thoughts are, comment down below. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Instagram. We haven't had a few episodes on Spotify in a while, but we are going to have them all on there soon. Trying to get them on Apple Podcasts soon as well, so we can have it reach out as far as we possibly can.
We're not on Apple Podcasts?
Nope. I don't know how to do it. I'm
What
dummy.
are you doing?
Not a thing. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. All right. I'm a fraud. Cheers. But yeah, that's gonna do it for our review for Cuckoo movie. Once again, I am your co-host Brandon.
I'm Jerry.
Stay spooky.